You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And today, we return to AHA, a horror anthology. And so far, we've seen what happens when people ignore the warnings. We've seen what happens when instincts kick in just a little too late. But today, we're stepping into something far more dangerous. Not the woods, not folklore, not something hiding in the shadows. We're stepping into the digital world because today's story, Hits the Moon, is about loneliness, influence, and the illusion of connection. It's about what happens when someone is searching for belonging and something answers. Not everything is online is what it seems. Not every voice is guiding you in the right directions. And sometimes what looks like magic is something much more sinister. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now in session. Tony, my friend, welcome to the USDN.
Thank you for having me, the chairman.
So let's dive into this, man. Why don't you give a quick introduction of who Tony is and kind of let them know how you got involved with AHA.
My name is Tony Kapp. I'm a writer from the Detroit area in Michigan. I write a project known as Staccato, which is punk rock berserk. That is my main focus. I have written some other horror books or horror shorts, and CHK put out the call for submissions. I threw my hat in the ring with a story that I really enjoyed writing, and they responded and brought me and Chaz on board.
And he is well aware of the fact that he does look like Claudio Castagnoli from AEW.
Death Riders, baby.
My dude, that's what's up. So what got you actually into comic books? So what kind of led you to writing this story?
So what kind of led me into comic books, that was actually something that I could probably attest to my grandmother. She would get me Spider-Man comics when I was just a very small child, Spider-Man toys, which then, you go from Spider-Man when you're teens and I found the Vertigo stuff when I was a bit older, and that really kind of sunk its teeth into me with like Hellblazer, Sandman, Shade the Changing Man, all that. And I just kind of fell in love with the medium since then. Something that I've always wanted to do. In my 20s, I started taking it more seriously, and that's where I'm at now. With Hex the Moon, I really wanted to tell a story about just the chronic onlineness of our entire society at this point. Like, I think at this point, everyone spends way too much time in front of a screen in some aspect.
That's all I do.
Yeah. I mean, same. Um, and the story just kind of evolved from just kind of, I don't know, just observing the world around
Mm-hmm.
me right now. It's even actually more directly inspired. I believe it was around 2020 where TikTok had a campaign where a bunch of uh, witches, young witches, were trying to actively hex the moon. And because I'm a comic writer who has read Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, I
Oh
have
yeah.
dabbled in the occult. Also raised Catholic my entire life, so that's a cult as well. So hearing that, I'm like, wow, those children are stupid. Why would you try to hex the moon? And when I wrote the story, I like kind of that was the thread I followed that
Mm-hmm.
led me to the story.
Dude, it's like that was a self-licking ice cream cone there. They just kind of like it was already there. All you had to do is piece it together.
Yeah.
Some wild shit, man. I'm telling you. But that's a great intro to Hits the Moon. Let's talk about Kaylee real quick and kind of like who is Kaylee in your story?
So I'm one of those writers who kind of puts themselves into every character they make. So
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee is very much me as a teenager, and in many ways, like me now. I would even go so far to say, like, it's as a writer, you spend a lot of time alone, just kind of doing your own thing, creating stories. It's a very solitary work, and
Mm-hmm.
human beings aren't necessarily meant to be alone. So, like, one of the easiest ways to find community is, unfortunately, through our cell phones nowadays.
Yeah.
So, like, I end up talking to a lot of my friends through the internet because they're all busy as well. And um, with her, I really kind of wanted like what would have happened to me in high school? Nerdy kid who didn't have a whole lot of friends, just kind of had their stories and their comics and their special interests. Like, what would happen if, like, what was the absolute worst thing that could have possibly happened to me as a teen with the phone? And this is just kind of an exploration of that. Like, I don't think Kaylee is a bad person, though even in the title you kind of find out she does something bad, but she was kind of taken for a ride.
Mm-hmm. What kind of makes her the right character to tell this story?
I think it's because there are so many Kayleys like that in the world right now. Like I keep harping on it, but it is really main focus of the story is just the isolation humans are experiencing. Like we in the story, when you meet Kaylee, she is alone in her room. For those 8 pages of story, or 7 of them, she is alone. She is alone staring at a phone screen. Um, and I think a lot of like people can identify with that. Um, I apologize. What was the question? Like,
Oh, what made Kaylee the right character to tell this story with? And you answered it.
oh,
Yeah. Whether
yeah,
inadvertently or not, you answered it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this is. Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just like for me, Kaylee is just kind of like just an every person, just really trying to find a community. And I think for better or for worse, a lot of what is going on in our country and the world right now is people yearning for a community so badly that they'll
Mhm.
follow anyone.
100%. 100% on that. So this isn't just horror. This is very modern and very rooted in today's society. I know you said this story was inspired by a real life witch coven that happened to appear on TikTok during COVID. And this is very much, this is what's scary about it. This is very much rooted in the reality of the world we live in today, which is kind of wild to think about. Do you think people often underestimate how powerful online influence really is? I mean, here we talk about a coven of people who are literally trying to hex the moon.
Yeah, I think people severely underestimate the influence the internet has on them, where I don't mean to get political, but in college I did study political science, so a lot of that, like political theory and such, does come through my writing. Right now, like, you have people are nobody really wants to check facts about things anymore.
Yeah.
And no matter what side of the aisle you on, a lot of the times people will see a meme, it will make them feel good because it will verify how they view the world, and then they will share it. And they won't check where that meme came from. They won't check if that meme is saying anything of actual value. It is very much a emotional reaction of like, see, I know something, or I'm correct, and the person who made this thinks like me. We're in the know. We have the secret knowledge of what's actually going on. And yeah, and like, I'm guilty of it. In my more emotional states in my life, I've been like, saw something, I'm just like, yeah, that's totally true. And I'm like, did you fact check that, man? I'm like, no, I didn't. I better go back and delete that and actually do some research. Is there a paper that I can find?
Yeah. No,
Like,
I think we're all 100% guilty of that at some point in our lives. And now it's one of those where if I'm posting anything at all, it's either to, in some shape or form, to promote what I do here at USDN, or to promote what my friends are doing with their podcasts and their stuff.
yeah.
And I'm like, and it keeps me, honestly, it makes me feel better because I'm celebrating my friends as well. And it keeps me away from the negativity. And honestly, like, over the last year, I've just unfollowed so much stuff that from my younger days that I was just like, well, my beliefs don't align with what that is, you know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a wild time, and definitely I think I've come out better on the other side after just erasing all that stuff and just focusing on what truly brings me joy and happiness. So yeah, dude.
Like you said, you're using it as a way to connect with like a true community, your like actual friends. Like,
yeah, and 100%, because there's nothing that makes me happier than seeing like Duke Electric, who was just on. I know he's got a new project coming up, so it's really cool to kind of celebrate his new project with him and talk about AHA with him, and now, you know, being friends with you and talking about your story, and finally getting to meet, you know, Chris and Chris from CHK, who I've followed for years now, and just getting to know those guys, you know, because when I got into this journey of interviewing indie comic creators, he was one of the people that I was like, let me see how he does this and what he does. I don't want to mimic it. I want to put my own spin on it, but I also want to learn. So, and that's what I did. And I've kind of just followed, you know, his journey along the way. I know he does, like, he focuses on the creative process of creating a comic book, whereas I focus on taking people through the journey of the creator. So it's really cool, like two very different styles of interviewing, but very much focused on the same thing at the same time. So it's kind of cool in that aspect of it. But let's talk about something unsettling. Who or what is Mr. Moonface? You don't have to go into a lot of details because let's not have to mark this one with spoilers too, like we had to do with Duke.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. I haven't really given too much thought about what Mr. Moonface necessarily is for real. Like because I think if giving any sort of solid answer to that is a lot less fun for the reader to kind of come up with their own. Like, I wish Chaz was here. Unfortunately, he had something come up, but he and I were talking about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Moonface is the patriarchy," and I'm like, "Go on," and he's like, "Well, like." He's like, the way I viewed it is that like women will search out feminine types of powers such as witchcraft and to try to escape the patriarchy, but because it is just so influenced and deep into the culture that we live in that it's still that there's just really no escaping of it. It's like, and I'm like, I think, which I loved that interpretation of it, especially when you look at a lot of mythologies will take the moon as a feminine deity, whereas in this comic I wrote it as a male deity, Mr. Moonface.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a brilliant interpretation of it. I don't think he's actually the moon. Like, I think he is a liar. I think and especially because to not give any sort of spoilers away, but you see him as such. Like, I think at the end of the day, Mr. Moonface is a liar. Like, that is, I think, the most concrete definition I can give. That's like anything else I think just kind of ruins any fun interpretation that you could have. And
I think it's really cool that you kind of you created this character and then with no real background, no idea who he is or what he is he her imagination? Is he an actual deity? You don't know that. And I think that's what's cool is that it's just kind of left to how people feel and to how they interpret the words and the images on the page, which is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
But he is presented as a very friendly, almost cartoonish in the beginning.
Yeah. And I think I'll even say, I think subconsciously was me kind of playing with the idea that a lot of the online troll culture, because I was somebody who came up when 4chan was around, and like it's where you went to just say horrible, awful things, but you're like, haha, it's just a joke. We're just joking. We're just saying awful shit to be funny. And then it's like, well, you're still saying that shit, and that shit isn't funny, especially when applied to real life, like where you actually have to have your face and identity tied to it. And you kind of see that like culture has come, especially nowadays, that's kind of come offline to where we just have where you can just get a job being a professional troll now.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So was Mr. Moonface like being very friendly and cartoonish in the beginning intentional to mirror how manipulation can work?
Yes.
Oh, dude, I love it. Just boom, like it was. No, and that's some contest for people out there who hopefully will go out and support this Kickstarter and read this story, because all I've gotten to read y'all is the synopsis. That's literally all I've gotten to read on this, and this is one of my favorite ones, despite how close to home this can. Well, to be fair, like this book is just amazing. Like I love the fact that Chris just kind of said, "Let y'all go all out and just kind of do what you wanted to do without any strings attached, so to speak." And yes, I did that intentionally because of Roger.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked that up. And if anybody's following along and listening along later, yeah, that's probably not the last time you'll hear me say that one. But no, it's been really cool, and like I love the concept of this story because it in the modern age that we live in, this one hits very close to home for a lot of people, and it's not as far fetched as, let's say, Duke's story. Even though I got a feeling like the story that Duke wrote with Mids isn't very far off in the near future. Like that may be here before you know it with that kind of technology. But this one here is the one where it was just kind of like, that shit could actually happen. Like online trolls bullying, driving some poor kid to the point where they're having psychotic episodes and doing this kind of stuff. And to be fair, it happens.
Yeah.
And it sucks to say that it does happen much more often than it should.
Yeah, a big inspiration, and again, fourth I forgot to mention, was the Slenderman stabbings that happened several years ago with those like 12-year-old kids just got online. I mean, there's more to it than that, but I mean, got online and was like, yeah, we have to do this to make this deity love us. Like, yeah, like it was rooted in some. I tried to put some bits of reality into the story.
Yeah, and it's wild that I'm a parent, so for me, like we have to be so careful with what our kids are ingesting online because this kind of stuff is out there and it's scary to think about. So when Mr. Moonface does reveal his true form, like in your head when you wrote that, like what does that represent for you, and what do you want readers to kind of feel when he does this grande reveal of who he is?
It was very much the realization of like I think one of the most terrifying things ever is the realization of like how badly you have fucked up and how there's nothing you can do to change it.
Yeah.
Which, like, where it's just this sudden realization of just like, and then just the realization that like my, not necessarily my life is a lie, but like just the complete terror of just like, fuck, I've made the worst mistake I could have possibly made ever, and there's nothing like, and I'm once again like, I said that for like 7 of those pages, like Kaylee is alone, and the story ends with her alone, even more alone than she was previously.
No, 100%. And I want to talk about the Moon Wand, not necessarily about what it is. I don't want to give that much away, but where did that kind of come from?
Just kind of the like, that was a lot more of just kind of how like the hoops our mind will jump through to make our reality comfortable for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, just like, I'm trying to think of like a good like real life example I could use, but it just kind of like, well, it's just the little bits of like, it's kind of like just the small lies we tell ourselves
Yeah.
like every like day.
Mhm.
Like I guess yeah, just it's just kind of like a lie that we tell ourselves. Like, cause yeah, I don't really want to give away the story. Like I really want people to be
Yeah.
surprised when they read it. Um like though I don't necessarily think like if you know what happens, like the story is any less good.
No, it's one of those where I don't think it would like, we could sit here and spoil it all day, but
Yeah.
it's still one of those where I feel like putting your eyes on it and actually reading it is gonna give it a whole 'nother feeling anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the representation of just kind of like how powerful the mind is at just kind of keeping
Mhm.
ourselves in a state of comfort, even when that comfort is a lie.
Yeah. Would you say it's a metaphor for, false empowerment?
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a good way of saying it. Like it's like I'm sure the listeners can probably like piece together what has
Oh, I'm
gone
sure.
on between the title and whatnot, but we'll keep that kayfabe up like they can't.
Yeah, and it's one of those where too, like, I'm choosing to talk around some things instead of just flat out saying it because I know YouTube likes to
That's
kind
true. Yep.
of give us hand slaps on certain things. And we were talking before we went live that I'm more than likely going to have to change the title anyway. And honestly, I didn't really cross my mind until like I was sitting here talking to you before we went live about the title, and I was just like, I'm probably gonna have to change that because
Yeah.
they don't like when we like they will censor that word and they won't allow that work like the episode to reach as many people. Like they will like I forgot the word they use, but yeah, I'll probably have to change it after this. Actually, I'll probably go in and change the live title and then match up the actual title when it goes, becomes an actual
Yeah.
episode. But so did you always know that this story was going to just be as dark as it was, or when you started writing it, did you kind of like were you seeing something else, and then what came out was this much darker version of itself?
I didn't I will be honest, I did not think it would end up as dark as it got.
Mhm.
I think there's also like the issue as the artist, like when you're in the thick of it, you're not necessarily getting the whole picture. But when I was doing the research for it, like watching the Slender Man stabbing documentary,
Yeah.
like researching a lot of just like the effects of like online culture, like the one kid who got all wrapped up in red pill BS and then like ran his car into um like the sorority house.
Yeah.
Like it's just like kind of really following down the path of just all the like just this the psychosis people get from just consuming a lot of just garbage content.
And there's plenty of it out there.
Yeah.
Like you can't get away from it.
Yeah, you really can.
So, as the title entails of this episode, Kaylee does do something that is very bad. Was that an important piece to kind of bring this story home?
I would say so because like it shows the effect that consuming I'm just gonna say shit online content like that is oftentimes hateful, like and just that has an effect on the people around you.
Yeah.
Like it can either be directly where we talk about the one misogynist who killed women from eating all of his red pill BS, or just somebody who's so deep in MAGA who ends up pushing their entire family away, where they're like, "We don't want to talk to you. You're just a man in
Yeah.
a red hat that sits around all day being angry." Like, like the content you eat and regurgitate has an effect on you. So I think that, like, Kate, like if Kaylee didn't do anything, like there wouldn't be a story there. So like there had to have been some type of
In game.
consequence. Yeah, consequence, end game. There had to be an effect, like this is what you get for this is what happens when you aren't vigilant in what you're consuming and keeping. Yeah.
So, through your eyes and through your pen and paper of which you wrote this, do you kind of see Kaylee as a victim, or is she the responsible party for her actions? Because when I see this, I kind of feel like it goes. It's like, yes, she is responsible, but she's also a victim of online manipulation.
Yeah, it's both. Because Kaylee is I believe she is a 16-year-old in the story. So she is a minor, so thus is like there is some leeway to give her and her actions. Like there she is responsible for her actions, but clearly like she's a teen, does not have a fully developed brain. So
Mhm.
is unfortunately easier easily manipulated by
Yeah,
either by an amorphous entity known as Mr. Moonface. Um, but I mean, she does do it. Like she does
yeah,
like at she ends up performing the action that ruins and completely destroys her life. She is responsible
mhm.
for that. Um, it's one of those moments where like what could be different, like in the story Kaylee's parents are fighting about, they're like, it's like we're worried about our daughter, what can we do about it? And
Yeah,
one parent's like, it's fine, it doesn't matter, and the other one's like, nah, for real, something's bad, we should
yeah,
talk to her. And it's I think at the very end of the day the story is, because she is both victim and perpetrator, I think that's what really makes it the tragedy, is
yeah,
like, oh, this isn't your fault, but it is.
yeah.
It is
And,
your
and
fault.
she's obviously, it could be classified as a pure like psychotic episode.
Yeah,
And but yeah, no, and it's hard as a parent, because you don't want to be that parent, but again, you also do sometimes need to be that parent that will step in and interfere if you have to.
right. And there's also the differences, like, there's just like my parents have no clue what 4chan is. So when I was a teenager on there, like, if somebody would have been like, your kid's on 4chan, they'd be like, I don't know what any of those words mean,
Yeah,
actually. So, like,
like Channel
in this,
4.
yeah, exactly. So, like, there's and we were talking earlier about our ages. So like I'm sure
Yeah,
there's like I am not a parent, but I'm sure there's stuff that children have access to online that I have no clue what it's about. That if somebody told me like, hey, these kids are on this site, I'd be like, I
yeah.
what? Like,
No, I'm with you, and thankfully, I have a fairly close relationship with mine to where she does talk to me, but
mhm,
again, mine's an adult now too, so I don't
yeah.
worry as much as I used to about that kind of stuff. So, but in this moment that we're currently discussing, what do you kind of want readers to feel in that moment?
I kind of want there to be at least a smidgen of empathy for Kaylee. Like I want them to
Yeah,
feel bad for this person. I want them to feel like I don't want them to read the story and then be like she is the villain, because I don't think she is the true villain. I want there to be some type of empathy, but I want their
yeah,
eyes to be directed to like, okay, what is the problem? It's like maybe the problem is that there are giant forces beyond our control pushing us and manipulating us in a variety of ways for their own gain, and they will quickly and easily throw us aside or throw us in the meat grinder
Oh yeah.
for whatever, for profit, for attention, for anything that isn't us. They do not give a shit about us as people.
Yeah.
So you, the reader, you need to care about people. So that way there are more of us caring about people than Mr. Moonfaces who do not give a shit about people.
No, and that's 100%. And I think we could compare Mr. Moonface to an online bully in this instance, because it wasn't, well, even right now, like, online bullying is being prosecuted as a crime, as it should be.
Yeah.
Which is it, I forgot what year that happened, where they passed like, oh no, if you are a dick online and it leads to something like this, you will be tried and persecuted for that crime, because you led to that crime. You led to that person ultimately not being here anymore. So I do appreciate that fact that things have changed and now people are being punished for this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And hopefully in this case, these people will also be punished for this.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the contrast between bright magic and dark reality. When you were putting this together, how did that kind of come about?
I think that was also just kind of my own vision of the occult. Like, I am a magic practitioner, again, comic writer who just absorbed so much Morrison and Alan Moore.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Like, I do find like occult practitioner doing the occult and ceremonial magic is a very empowering personal thing for me. But I'm also aware it is just me kind of playing with my own psychology to get me to a state where I am happy and like able to live my life in the best way possible. I think for some people, they will kind of look at magic and religion as like a superpower that allows them to have power over others. So when like Kaylee is granted the moon wand, she goes through this magical girl transformation a la Sailor Moon, to really kind of show that like some people who like me playing with tarot cards in my home does not make me Merlin. It is just me playing with tarot cards.
We can ask John Constantine how Tatson magic is on the self.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was kind of just this wanted to show that, really to kind of show her naive interpretation of what magic is supposed to be.
Yeah. No, dude, it's a wild story, dude, and it's dark, but it's hard to explain. I don't want to like spoil too much or to give a lot of stuff away, because we have talked about some details that we could probably done without, and let's just let people read it for themselves. But I still think this will be one of those stories where people are like, damn, this dude's fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's literally based on, or loosely based on, true events. So, but in this story, are we seeing this story through Kaylee's perception, or her reality, or her perception of reality, I should say?
Yeah, we're seeing it through what Kaylee sees. Like, if I was to ever do an epilogue or to continue the story in any way, like Kaylee would talk about seeing Mr. Moonface, and yeah, like for what, like it is all her perspective.
Yeah. If there is an epilogue to this, it would be most likely her talking to a reporter from a psychiatric institute.
Yes.
That would actually be kind of a cool follow-up if you ever did that, or decided to do that.
Yeah, we'll see if that's in the cards.
Come on, Chris and Chris, make it happen.
Yeah.
I think we need a follow-up after this. So at the core of this, what is Hits the Moon really saying?
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a bit.
Oh, at its core, what is Hits the Moon really saying?
I think it's a warning. I think it's definitely it's very much a be careful who you follow. Like I would say another issue with online culture is just the how parasocial relationships are just so prevalent
Mhm.
in our world nowadays. And like these people aren't necessarily real. Like their personas, they're just like characters people are playing to like push an agenda. Even me in this moment, I would argue I am a character pushing an agenda. I am a writer on a podcast trying to convince other people to give me money to read my stories. Like you're only seeing one aspect of me, and people tend to think that, oh, because I now know that Tony practices magic, he was raised Catholic, he lives in the Detroit area. We're friends now. We're friends. He's just like me. Like I and on a I'm just a comic book writer who wants people to buy funny books. There are some people out there who want you to like, I don't know, give them a whole bunch of money for like weird pickup artist classes or funnel
Those
money to
always
like,
crack me up.
right, yeah. And it's yeah, I think kind of get lost in the weeds here, but yeah, it's a
No, you're
story
good,
about
dude.
just it's really just it's a warning about like what you're consuming online, what
Yeah.
you're like where look where your beliefs are coming from. Really just kind of have like like if you're lonely, put down the phone and go for a walk. I don't know, it's like
Mhm.
go talk to another human in real life. Like
Yeah.
try not to have a screen between you and your people, at least not all the time.
No, 100%. And I can honestly say, like, my day job takes care of my human interaction for me,
Yeah,
even though at times I'm just like, what?
yeah,
But I get my human interaction. And, even though there's days where I just don't want to do, to do that kind of
yeah,
stuff. But at the end of the day, we all do need that human interaction
yeah,
in real life
yeah,
with, over dinner, over brunch, over coffee, over a beer, whatever it may be.
yeah.
Go touch grass is what he's saying.
Pretty much. Yeah. Go do errands with your friends. Like do it doesn't have to be
Exactly.
like it's like yeah, just real human connection is I think something that is really lacking in our like existence right now, and we're substituting it for just honestly entertainment.
Yeah. If you can even call some of it entertainment.
I would argue that it is some aspect of it. It is on the axis of entertainment
Yeah.
in some way. Like it may be disguising itself as news, as self-help, as whatnot, but at the end of the day, the content is designed to make us feel good, whether that be some strange bit of schadenfreude or just like, yeah, just, yeah, trail off. I'm sorry, I'm going on a weird tangent there.
No, you're good, dude. We're about to start bringing it home anyway.
All right.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the actual book, Aha, for a second. What's it been like being a part of this anthology? We all kind of know at this point how it all came together, but what's it been like as a whole? I know y'all had like a Teams call or whatever to where Chris kind of just was like, "Hey, here's what we're doing. Do we have an idea of what we're doing? No, but we're all going to learn together on this," which is very much the Chris and Chris way of doing business, I feel, which
Yeah.
is really cool. They're very personable people, so that's kind of like a status quo, I feel. But
Yeah.
what's it been like though?
It's been awesome. It's been really cool just kind of seeing this kind of small community of creators just kind of like
Yeah.
spring up and like as like work together as a team. I got to help one of the writers with their story just as a beta reader, which was like
Yeah.
so something so simple, but I mean, like
Yeah.
it's nice when you have like other pros being able to like kind of help you along. So that
Mhm.
I felt awesome being able to assist in that way. It's been really cool seeing everyone else's like style of horror, and
Yeah.
just like one thing I love about this book is that just like each story looks different. Like
Yeah, that's what I really like too. Everything is different, and the only common core is Roger.
yeah, yeah, and like even that character that the Chris has created, I love as well because it just harkens back to like the Crypt Keeper
Yep.
shows from when I watched when I was a child, which scared the bejesus out of me. Um,
Yeah. No,
so
and what's really cool about those old shows was there's no CGI there. It's all
yeah,
practical effects,
yeah,
and it scared the bejesus out of little us.
yeah, yeah. I remember one story from Crypt Keeper years ago that like I was like at home from school sick, and I was like way too young to be watching it, and it was
Yeah.
on, and it just like I think I still have like a deep terror today, even though like I'm sure if I went back and rewatched the episode, I'm like, oh, that was just a rubber mask, and but
Yeah.
like I don't know our perspective. So
Exactly. And it took me like I still don't really like I'm still not a big fan of clowns. I think people who are clowns are just fucking weird to begin with.
yeah,
But I still, it really did it for me. Like I was just like, I ain't fucking with clowns. And that goes a lot to Tim Curry as a actor who is absolutely brilliant. And I
oh
love the new one too. Like, what's his name? Uh,
Skarsgård,
yeah, Bill from the great Skarsgård family, as
yeah,
they have to be called, because literally everybody from the grandparents down to the children are all like brilliant actors.
yep,
And it's wild to see like there's not a Skarsgård that hasn't been an actor in like 3 generations.
yeah, yeah. The family
So
knows what's up.
exactly, there's some good genetics there. But no, like even he tried to recreate what Tim Curry did and take it to the next level, which he 100% did. But because of that, I still am not a fan of clowns
Yeah,
to this day. Like they just creep me the fuck out. But so what has made Aha special compared to like not just like because I know you've done Staccato. I don't know what else you have done, but Staccato, I think you sent to me, and I read like I think did you send me the free one? I can't remember.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah, in which I thoroughly enjoyed because it's a fun story and it's different. I love those types of stuff where it's just different.
yeah.
So, but what do you think has made Aha special compared to like some of the other projects that may be out right now from an anthology standpoint?
I think there is very much the DIY mindset behind
Yeah,
Aha that as a punk rocker hardcore kid at heart really enjoy. Like I
mhm,
really like that they said, we're just going to do it ourselves and let's figure this out as we go. So
yeah,
because of that, the passion really comes forward. Like you see just everyone's putting their best foot forward with their stories and their art, and it's really coming from a place of love
yeah,
for this. And that's not to say that other anthologies are like don't have that. Um, I just think because like this is for a lot of people, this is their first like foray into like professional comicism. There's a
yeah,
type of excitement there that you don't forget your first time,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
for a lot
that,
of people, this is their like
yeah,
first anthology and maybe like their second time out the gate writing, period. Writing
yeah,
a a comic book story.
yeah, and so
So
it's really cool seeing those people just kind of like get those first hits of success,
mhm.
and I think there's something special about that.
No, 100%. 100%. And that's what I was so drawn to when I was approached about doing the shows
Yeah,
for
very
AHA.
appreciative of that.
And I thought it was so cool. And I greatly appreciated Duke reaching out and going, "Hey, I'm working on this anthology. Do you want to be a part of it and host each of the storytellers on the show?" I was like, "Dude, you have me." Like, oh, 100%.
Thank you so
And
much
then
for
when I
that.
realized it was Chris and Chris again, I was like, "Oh yeah, I've wanted to meet, talk to these guys for a while." And just tell them how much I appreciated them and kind of being an early influence on what I do. And for me, it's been a pleasure, man. And this is episode 3 of AHA. We got 4 more to go, and they're just going to keep getting creepier and scarier, I hope. And we're going to keep rock starring it, man. It's been so
Yeah,
fun getting to talk to everybody, making new friends, which that's one of my favorite parts of this job is
yeah,
just meeting new artists, meeting new writers, and just learning about their journey into comics and kind of seeing what they're working on and what they're doing. And to me is very special. I love taking those people through that journey of that person. So for me, it's been a whole lot of fun. But let's let people know where they can find Tony.
all right. So I'm mostly active on Instagram and Blue Sky at Mista Mista Dark Dark is my handle on both those. Actually, it's across all social media platforms, but those are the two that you'll find me active on. Um, Staccato is the comic that I do with Chaz as illustrator, who worked with me for hashtag Hex the Moon. You can read that story for free. We just completed the very first arc, so chapters 1 through 7 are free to read at staccatoRevenge.com. We're going to be coming back in June, starting book 2 of that story, which we're
Mhm.
both really excited about.
And of course, as always, that will be tagged below. If you go into the description of this video, you will see that tagged. And I will also, when this goes live again later, I will have Chaz's social media down there for you as well as the link to Staccato. But let people know where they can support AHA.
Yeah, just go to the Kickstarter. Got several tiers. Even just honestly, if you threw $1 at it, as just feel like this sounds cool, can't afford it all right now, but $1 will help. Hell, if you even just share it on your socials,
Yeah.
that is even tremendous, and it's free. Clicking retweet or share is free, and that is so helpful.
Yeah.
And
And it means
love
the
that.
world to all of us. It really
Yes.
does. Like when somebody shares a clip of, the story, it means the world to us that we're getting that love. And that's really the end of the day, if that's what we get, that's what we get. And I'm not here to sell you the book. Well, I am, but I'm not.
I am. Please buy the
Tony
book.
is, however.
Please buy it.
But real quick,
Please.
give everybody the down and dirty why they should back this project.
I think if you should back this project, if you love horror, any type of horror, we've got it all. There is grotesque body horror, we've got psychological monster horror, there's witch horror, there's something I think for every horror fan in this anthology. Um, it's you get to support new creators, so if you're kind of tired of just let's seeing the same 12 names at your comic shop, this is a good way to get some new blood in there, so that's a
Yeah.
great thing to do, and it's fun spending money It feels good when you spend money. You get that hit of dopamine. Buy.
Exactly. But Tony, appreciate you stopping by on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Of course, we chose this time for Chaz, who is in the UK, who unfortunately could not be with us here this morning. But I promise y'all, we'll have Tony and Chaz back when they get ready to start on book number 2 of Staccato. How about that?
Love that. We would love that.
We'll bring it back. Just whenever you're ready, just shoot me an email or a message and we'll make that happen. I am currently booking June and July. So if it's going to be happening in that time frame, you might want to hit me up now before they fill up. But this is one of those stories that hits on a different level because this isn't some distant horror. This isn't something happening in another world. This feels real. This feels like something that could happen right now to anyone scrolling, searching, looking for a connection. And that is what makes Hits the Moon so powerful. It's not about monsters. It's not about manipulation. It's about isolation. And it's about what happens when you trust the wrong voice. And by the time you realize it, it's already too late. To everyone watching and listening, if you've been following AHA, you already know what this is. It's different creators, different perspectives, one anthology built on fear that actually means something. Make sure you check out the Kickstarter, support these creators because this is what indie horror is supposed to be. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the chairman and Tony, and this has been the United States Department of Nerds, where indie comics come to life. The Council of Nerds is now adjourned. Happy Easter, and y'all be safe out there.
It's a trap!
That was a good